What's up everyone, John here, and I'm going to walk you through step by step how to put this exact fireworks show together. Before we get into the setup, I'm going to give you a quick look at the tools, materials, and supplies that you need to build this exact show. The first thing you're going to need is some plywood. Any plywood should do, just make sure it's thick enough to support the weight of your fireworks. You're also going to need a mortar rack. I have a video on my YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description of exactly how to make a mortar rack step by step, and even shows you where to get these tubes. These tubes are HDPE tubes. You can get them off pyroboom.com. You're also going to need some fuse. Now, the type of fuse you buy is completely dependent on the type of show you want to have. If you want a show that goes off a lot faster, more like a finale show, you're going to need faster fuse. If you just want more of a longer show, you're going to need slower fuse. So whatever you prefer, I go buy a couple rolls of it. Can't go wrong if you just pick up some perfect fuse, slow fuse, and fast fuse. This perfect fuse is 9 to 13 seconds a foot, and it's great for fusing artillery shells together because the shells will go off one after another. You're also going to need zip ties and tape. This is to fuse your artillery shells and cakes together. Now you can use one or the other. I'm going to show you how to use both in the video. Tape I prefer to use is this U-Haul packaging tape. I do not recommend that you use duct tape. You're also going to need something to cut your fuse with. Now these are wire cutters. I'm going to use these today because this is all I have right now. I've never had an issue with it, but this is not the safest option. The safest option is to go ahead and buy online. They're called anvil cutters. They're specifically made for fuse. What they have is metal on plastic instead of metal on metal, because metal on metal can cause sparks. Also going to need a box cutter of some sort. This is to cut the tops and bottoms off your fireworks. I'll show you how to do that in the video. You're also going to want to pick up some glue. This glue is used to glue your cakes to your plywood. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this Gorilla Spray Adhesive Heavy Duty. I've used it before. I haven't had any problems with it, but it's not the best. I would go ahead and actually buy a wood glue, or liquid nails usually works pretty well when it comes to gluing your firework cakes to the plywood. Last thing you're going to need is some aluminum foil. I'll show you exactly how and why I use it at the end of the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut the tops off the firework cakes, and then we're going to cut the bottoms off the firework cakes. So you might ask, why do you cut the tops and the bottoms off the firework cakes? The reason you cut the tops off the firework cakes is it will help you save up on debris. All this paper here, when it fires off, the paper just breaks up and it goes everywhere. So that's a lot more you have to clean up at the end. Also, it will allow you to inspect the tubes on the inside and see if there are any fans or any type of damage done to the tubes. So as you can see, here's what it looks like on the inside. It looks like it's pretty good, ready to go. Now the reason why you're going to cut the bottom paper off is because when you go to glue this to your plywood, if you don't cut the paper off, you're just gluing to this paper and it's just going to rip. It's more chances of it falling over. If it were to fall over, the paper is just going to rip. So I like to cut this bottom paper off before I glue it. And as you can see, it gives you plywood to glue to. So you're going to glue plywood to plywood rather than this barrier paper. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the tops and bottom off all of these, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Gorilla Spray Adhesive Heavy Duty Glue, and we're going to spray the bottoms of the cake as well as the plywood. I'll show you real quick exactly how to do it, and then I'll time lapse the rest so you can see me finish it. So all you're going to do is spray the spray adhesive all over the back of the cake. Spray as much as you can or want. Spray the plywood as well. Just helps it get glued down better. Place it on the plywood and give it a firm push and hold and let it sit. This is all done. This is ready to be connected to my firing system. But if you're not using a firing system, what you're going to have to do is peel these stickers off of each of the fuse and run the fuse of your choice with tape or zip ties. And you're going to go from this cake, that cake, or however you really want to do it. I'll show you some fusing techniques when I go to fuse the mortar rack. Basically the same applies for cakes. It's nearly the same thing of how to connect the fuses. So now what we're going to do is we're going to load all of our mortar racks with shells. You can do this however you want. You could use these all for finale. Just remember that the different type of fuse you use is how the different pace will be. So if you use fast fuse, it's all going to go up at once. If you use a slower fuse, it's going to be more like one after another. One thing you always want to try to avoid is any dead space in the sky. I really don't like it. I try to avoid it. So I don't really use super slow fuse. I like to use a perfect fuse. So if you can find a fuse that's 9 to 10 seconds a foot, that usually will be pretty good. Now, if you're looking to make a finale rack, the fuse you're going to need is like a fast artillery fuse, like 1 to 2, 3 seconds a foot. I wouldn't get the super fast fuse because you kind of sky puke a little bit, but I would just get the fuse that's about 2 seconds a foot. That usually goes for a good finale. So I'm going to show you exactly how to load a tube. What you do is you take your canister shell or ball shell, you drop it down in the tube, and you make sure it hits the bottom, and you leave the fuse out like that. I'm going to go ahead and fill all these racks, even the 10-shot rack, with canister shells and ball shells of my choice, and I'm going to get back to you when it's done. I'm going to begin to show you exactly how to fuse this together. Now this is a fast fuse I'm going to be using for the back portion of this, so this is going to go perfect fuse into a fast fuse. I'll start with zip ties first. So what you're going to do is you're going to face the fuse in the direction of the burn. So if you're lighting the fuse here, you want it facing this way. If you have it this way, there's less chance of it catching. What I like to do, there's different ways you can do this. If I use this, a lot of times you can just kind of start the zip tie, and just kind of, you can put a bunch of them on there just to work with. You can start the zip tie, and then all you're going to do is put the fuse through the zip tie and snug it up like so. You can leave as much as you want on the edge. If you're hand firing it, I would leave more, or even attach a piece of safety fuse, a slow burning fuse, if you're going to hand light. But this is, I'm hooking up to a firing system, so I don't really have to worry about that. So I'm going to attach my fuse, one right here towards the tip of the fuse. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab another zip tie, and then I'm going to zip tie it a little bit farther down. This just really ensures that it will catch and ignite. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it with tape now. So all you need is a small piece of tape. What you're going to do is you're just going to put the tape on the fuse, the pink fuse here that you're using, and then you're going to put the canister shell or ball shell fuse right next to it. And I like to just fold it over just like that, and fold over again, and make sure you squeeze that tight and kind of pinch it all together so they're in contact with each other. Whatever way you like to do it is fine. I'm going to use zip ties this time, and you don't have to cut all the ends off the zip ties, but I like to do it just to make it look nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and fuse all this together, and I'll get back to you when I'm all done. It's the same process whether you use fast fuse, slow fuse, or this perfect fuse. Okay, all the fusing is done. I'm going to give you a brief overview of exactly what I did. Now, on this 30-shot rack, I used perfect fuse, and I went into some fast artillery fuse. That's about 3 to 5 seconds a foot. It's slightly slower than your fast fuse, which I used on these finale racks here. Now, this is all fast fused together. I have the artillery fuse on this 10-shot rack for an opener. Now, for my finale here, what I wanted to show you is when you're chain linking these together, it's important to space them out consistently. I mean, it looks a lot better, it makes it a lot easier, and the timing's a lot better. So what I do is I take the artillery shell fuse and I put it at the edge of the tube, and that's where I start the zip tie on each one. See, if I go down the line here, the zip tie starts at the edge of the tube, That leaves about an inch gap between each fuse. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is what to do with the aluminum foil. The aluminum foil is to cover your racks. Now, the reason you cover your racks is because when you're firing off these cakes during the show or firing off any other fireworks, this prevents the sparks from pre-igniting any other fireworks that you do not want to go off yet. Okay, so when you go to cover your racks, you're going to need the aluminum foil and some tape. Now, I'm not going to cover this 10-shot rack because this is the first thing that's going to go off in the show, so I'm not too worried about it. What you're going to do is tear you off a nice piece. Now, you can either go long ways or this way. I'm going to go this way this time, just to make sure everything's covered great. Now, one thing I want to mention is that you have your fuse at the end. You got to make sure you can still access it and light it. That's why I said if you're going to hand light the show, add an extra long piece of fuse, a slower fuse, towards the end. Now, if you're going to use clip-on igniters or a firing system, you can just clip on your igniter, get that ready to go, tape it down, and you're good to go. So what you're going to do is all you're going to do is take the aluminum foil, wrap it around, make sure it's pressed down, and do that on each side. And then you're just going to tape it to your firework rack. It's really that simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do all this and get right back to you. Okay, so we got the aluminum foil on the mortar racks. The fireworks show setup is complete. It's ready to fire. There will be a separate video on my YouTube channel of this exact display, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.